Associates. Professor HB here just for another ride along. This time I am working on, part 2 of that usability report. So actually turning the assessment into, the written format. And so I'm working on, that source background, and just pulling back in the quick facts that I found. To do that, I had used the, Google Advanced Search, looked for data at a uccs.edu domain, like the librarian showed us how to, search within domains. And that's how I found this quick facts all about our campus. And so now I'm just adding in that citation. I did have to pull up the IEEE guidebook. And I just, am following plug and chug the information for kind of an internet just data sheet is what I went with, and how close that was to it. And so now I'm kind of replacing the things that I'd previously made just notes that I knew I wanted to research kind of as a loose outline. And went ahead and put them in there, did a little bit of light, just design, helping that stand out, right? Linking to the websites. All the things the action items for the assignment, just it has to do, like make sure it's very clear where, these documents came from, who maintains them, who's it for, when was it published. And so same, I went back to that Google Advanced Search and found the climate survey tip, which I did not do, and it was annoying. But when you find a piece of source, a piece of research, initially go ahead and do your references right then and there, because otherwise you have to go back and find them later, which is what I was doing. It's like, man, I gotta go find that again. Wish I had already cited it. But just, plugging and chugging here, I couldn't find a modified date on the website. So I just had to put no date. And if that's how it is, if that's, the fact, then that's what it is. Now I'm jumping down, right? The evaluator section. I was the only one, right? You'll want to, talk about what all of your team members did. I was the only one on this team. So that was one sentence. Don't belabor it, right? Just be direct. Tell me what you got to tell me. Then popping into user and the scenarios, looking back up specifically to see, make sure I got just all the information correct, worded my tasks, the same, and specifically who my users were as well, and why I chose them for each of the tests. Of course, this was, again, very small scale, just 2 users, but again, I'm kind of doing this at the sort of minimum expectation level. And so, we only specified users. So 2. Of course, if you have a larger, more extensive, more nuanced test, then that is all going to be, great and sort of exceeding, if you chose to be extra nuanced, extra legit in your testing. Here's just kind of going through and finding some more data and research to help me explain and kind of flesh out that, users and kind of scenario section. Trying to look, how many programs do we have? Where are these college? All that kind of info. Where's it going? Honestly, I should have probably done that on the up front right before selecting all my, tests and users. But sometimes in writing, sometimes in work, especially as, students, I try to kind of put myself in the mindset of a student as well to, write an answer key that felt true to just, your level and the level of this introductory course. And so I recognize that you might be definitely going back and doing research that, maybe you should have done, ahead of time. That would have just helped to really add a lot to the project. But it happens as it goes. All right, so now I'm just kind of doing, again, some loose formatting, talking about what tasks and what they measured and how they measured. Again, baseline, kind of minimum expectation. Obviously, I'm not explaining it very much. I would definitely comment as I was grading this, maybe should give a little bit better explanation. Maybe put it in a little bit more visible format. That kind of stuff. But as it is, just writing it out meets the expectations as they were outlined. And that's what this key really represents. So it's kind of up to you on how you might want to exceed and do better. Now just writing a little concluding statement, and let's move on into the findings. So a lot of these findings, I literally just go and copy and paste directly from my observations, from my recommendations, because in the previous video, I had, spent time. I mean, I did spend like 90 minutes writing out these assessments in that table. And quite a bit of time, as I was doing the tests, writing out my observations and notes and then transposing kind of my written notes into this Word document. And so by the time I got here, I pretty much already knew what I wanted to say and kind of, how I could say it, because I'd done, so much of that work ahead. So really here's just a matter of picking, right, at least one recommendation, right, at least one kind of result for each one to fulfill the just baseline requirements. So I just kind of got to pick through and say, okay, what's the biggest themes? What are the biggest problems? What's maybe the most interesting insight or thing that I could share here? And these recommendations would be another really excellent place to, exceed expectations, go bigger, go better, and, cite some of our course materials or other, resources to kind of emphasize why this would help with the usability. That would definitely be kind of an exceeding way to make your paper an A. All right, and then I go back and do the introduction last because I think it's often easiest. For me, I like to do my introductions at the end when I know what I've actually said, since that intro kind of gives that precursor. And now I'm just kind of going back through, seeing if I can tighten up the page count, adjusting kind of the image a little bit. I said 1 to 2 pages. I do count, 1 full page, 2 full page. So this is 2.5 pages. And I think that makes sense and is concise, but also an appropriate length. Yours might be a bit longer. Definitely, if it's half a page, that's not going to be enough info. And now I'm actually rearranging to put my appendices and my scorecard in the appendices at the end.